cold morning in Toronto, jets over the Middle East, and a Canadian delegation in India swapping their phones for burner devices. Later in the brief, the one decision Ottawa is trying not to make, while still backing Washington's move against Iran. Toronto starts today under clear skies and sharp cold. Expect sunny conditions, with temperatures around minus 13 degrees Celsius early, rising to about minus 4 this afternoon. A quick local safety note before we move on. Police in Northern Ontario are reporting 3 separate impaired driving cases in recent days. One involving a child in the vehicle, another a crash near Elliott Lake, and a third stop near North Bay that police say led to multiple charges after a refusal to provide a sobriety sample and alleged drugs and open alcohol found in the car. The common thread here is straightforward. Enforcement is active, and the legal consequences are immediate. Turning to sports, Toronto FC had a rough night out west, losing 3-0 in Vancouver. The home side controlled most of the match, and Toronto conceded early through a penalty and never really found a way back into it. And in women's hockey, Toronto's PWHL team, the Scepters, won 2-1 in Vancouver, scoring twice in the first period and then leaning hard into defense the rest of the way. They blocked a lot of shots and held on. Now, with that baseline set, we move to the story reshaping Canada's diplomatic week. Overnight, reports say the United States and Israel launched airstrikes against Iran, with multiple blasts heard in Tehran and smoke seen rising from the capital. One early reported strike appeared to land near offices associated with Iran's supreme leader, an unusually pointed signal, if confirmed. Iran's foreign minister called the strikes a war of choice, and said Iran had been negotiating in good faith on its nuclear program. At the same time, Iran was reported to have launched retaliatory missiles across the region, toward or into multiple countries, including places like the Gulf states and Israel, adding a wider regional risk beyond Iran itself. Here's the key point. This is no longer just an argument about nuclear capability in the abstract. It's now a fast-moving security crisis with immediate spillover risks: airspace, travel, energy markets, and the safety of Canadians in the region. Against that backdrop, Prime Minister Mark Carney is in India on a trade mission aimed at a comprehensive deal that would, in Canada's stated ambition, double two-way trade by 2030. But the trip is being overshadowed by Iran. Carney's public position is reported. He supports U.S. action against Iran's nuclear program, while also saying Canada is not expected to take part militarily, and that Canada was not part of the military buildup or planning. That distinction matters. Supporting an ally's objective is one thing. Committing Canadian forces is another. And Carney appears to be drawing a bright line there, at least for now. There's also a practical, on-the-ground detail that tells you how seriously Ottawa is taking the threat environment. Members of the Canadian delegation in India, politicians, staff, and media, used temporary devices and reportedly kept regular phones and laptops in signal-blocking bags after landing. That's a standard counter-surveillance posture on trips where security services worry about device compromise. And it also reflects broader concerns Ottawa has raised in recent years about foreign interference and transnational repression. Mid-episode reset. If you remember one thing from this section, it's that Canada is trying to do 2 things at once: keep an economic agenda moving in India, while managing the diplomatic and security consequences of a major U.S.-Israel strike on Iran. There are also political cross-currents. Former U.S. President Donald Trump posted a video urging Iranians to take over their government once the attack was complete. Separately, Canadian reactions have been mixed and emotional. Some Iranian Canadians have rallied in Canadian cities, expressing relief and hope that the strikes could weaken the Iranian regime, while others are focused on the risks of escalation and civilian harm. Sorting verified outcomes from claims and counterclaims is going to take time, especially around reported targets and leadership impacts. The risk here is escalation by cycle: strikes, retaliation, then expanded targeting. That's the moment where Canada's "we support the action, but won't join militarily" position gets tested, because allies may ask for support in other forms that fall short of combat: intelligence sharing, airlift, protection of diplomatic sites, or new sanctions. Now, a quick travel story that fits this same theme of security and disruption, just in a different place. After cartel-linked violence flared in parts of Mexico, following the killing of a cartel leader, Canadian travelers reported flight cancellations and chaotic conditions at airports. Global Affairs Canada has urged caution, and the Canadian Transportation Agency has opened a probe into whether airlines met their obligations to stranded passengers, including rebooking requirements. The situation appears to be stabilizing in some areas, but officials are emphasizing that conditions vary widely by region. Act 3. What to watch next. First, watch for confirmation on what was hit in Iran and what was not, and whether retaliatory launches continue over the next 24 to 48 hours. The timeline matters because this phase often determines whether a crisis cools or spreads. Second, watch Ottawa's next wording. Carney's line, supporting U.S. action but not participating militarily, will be scrutinized for any shift, especially if allies request Canadian assistance that isn't strictly combat, but still carries risk. And third, watch for practical advisories, travel disruptions, airspace changes, and updated guidance for Canadians abroad, especially in the Middle East. That's the brief for Monday, March 2nd. Stay warm out there, sunny but sharply cold, and we'll be watching for what changes and what holds as this story develops.